That is your first look at the Blitz Elite set coming your way with Operation Win Bastion. Welcome back to Rio. My name is Justin Kruger, community developer on Rainbow Six Siege. And today we have a lot to go over in terms of Win Bastion details. But first, we have an esports dev diary that we'd like to go over that highlights some of the changes coming to the Season 9 in 2019 and previews a few of the upcoming changes for the Six Invitational. So without further ado, let's check out that dev diary.
Today I'm excited to be talking about the upcoming changes coming to Pro League starting next season. Six months ago, we brought a lot of changes with the implementation of the pick and ban, the new match format, and the new league format. Now that a full season is done, we're making a minor adjustment. For the Pro League regular season, the matches will remain as best of ones. The teams will now play up to 6 rounds on each side. Up to 12 rounds can be played out. So the first team to 7 rounds will now win the map. If the score of 6-6 occurs, we have a tie. As usual, the Pro League LAN finals will be played on best-of-3 series. If a team ties at LAN, we will go to overtime. Our goal is always to make the league more competitive and to keep an even format across offline and online play. Now let's talk about some exciting updates about the pilot program. At the Paris Major, we revealed the team's charms and weapon skins. Today, we are excited to reveal the team's battle dress uniforms and headgear that we'll be releasing with Operation Win Bastion. This is the first time you will be able to represent your favorite teams from head to toe. This is without a doubt the best way to support your favorite teams, with 30% of the revenue directly going to the organizations.
Now coming up next, I'm very excited to bring you more information about the Six Invitational. First thing first, we've got 16 teams attending the event. G2, of course, were our first qualifier when they won the Six Major Paris back in August. After them, Cloud9 earned a spot in September by winning DreamHack Montreal. And today, in Rio, we know our 8 Pro League contenders, the 2 best teams from each region. There will be one last offline qualifier taking place at DreamHack Winter in Sweden this December. After this, it will be up to the online qualifiers. Now, speaking of the open qualifiers, we've slightly changed the format for this year. The first phase will be a Swiss system tournament, as you know. This is a tournament where everyone can participate, so don't hesitate to register with your group of friends. After this, the best teams will move on to a double elimination bracket, where the remaining teams from Challenger League and Pro League will be waiting for them. Only the absolute best at the end of this phase will make it to the Six Invitational. We're very excited to give you an update on the prize money of the Six Invitational. We announced in August how the Pro League gold sets directly contribute to the prize money of the event. And today, in November, at this Rio Pro League final, we're excited to let you know that the prize money for the event has finally reached $1 million.
That's about it for the updates that we have for you today. We hope that you're excited as we are, and to find out more information about the match format, the pilot program, or the Six Invitational, make sure to check out our website at rainbow6.com.
Welcome back to Rio, and I'd like to welcome in the man himself, P.O. Crapin, esports manager for Rainbow Six Siege. The man in the video. How's it going, P.O.?
Pretty good, Justin. Thank you. Happy to be here to represent the team. You know, today is the end of the new 6-month season, and today we will crown a new champion. I cannot wait for these grand finals.
Yeah, end of the first 6-month season, and we talked a lot about the upcoming format in that video. There's a lot to unpack there, but we wanted to expand a little bit more on what we just saw there. So obviously, the new format is a big decision, but also I wanted to talk about why we're sticking with the best of one. That's a hot topic within the community. So why are we sticking with best of one instead of best of 3.
That's right, Justin. We heard the community, we heard the pro players' feedback. We really looked into this topic before bringing it on the table, and we really looked at every possible scenarios. And for now, the best of 3 is not possible because of our objectives and our constraints. We cannot double or triple the amount of content that we have right now.
Right, it's too much. So you talk about the objectives. How does this, keeping with the best of 1 format, meet our objectives?
Yeah, with the new format, we wanted to make sure that the teams play every week, that the teams also play each other twice throughout the season to make sure that they play each other on each metas. Also, a very important point, every single match is broadcasted.
Yeah, so it keeps a lot of the content in there. Now, talking about the process of these decisions. These are big decisions to make. It's the process behind the evolution of our scene. How do we as a team make these kinds of decisions?
That's right. We have a set process in place. Every big event, we have a pro workshop, just like we had last Friday. We sit with the pros and we discuss the hot topics. We also send viewer surveys every season. Then we take that information, we bring it back home, we discuss with the devs, and with ESL, we move forward with a decision that is the best for our players, of course, but for our viewers as well.
And of course, we're listening to all the feedback from the community, from those surveys, and from the amazing crowd here in Rio that has been so hyped all weekend. Now, you talked about some of the hot topics among the community. And I want to talk about one hot topic in particular, Lion. I think a lot of people have been asking the question, what is happening with Lion in the Pro League esports scene?
Yes, Justin, Lion is an operator that we faced a unique problem with. We know that he is overpowered, and today the dev team is ready to act on it. Starting next season, we will put Lion in a competitive quarantine, which means that the players will not be able to pick Lion in our esports programs. Our esports programs are the Weekly Go 4, the Challenger League, the Pro League, the Minors, and the Majors.
So I'm sure a lot of pro players out there are going to be really excited to hear that news. Lion has obviously been a problem for them. But just to be clear, it's staying in the game overall. It's just going to be removed from the esports program.
That's correct. And we do have a next step.
Yeah.
There is a possible fix in the works, and we will have a pro workshop soon to test out his rework. Until Lion is in a good place, he will remain in the competitive quarantine. And note that this is an exceptional measure in that the dev team is ready to do what it takes to keep our competitive scene as healthy as possible.
Really interesting evolution of how we approach esports. This is going to be moving forward, how we kind of make these decisions. Another evolution of our esports scene has been the Challenger League. Tell us a little bit about how the change in format of the Challenger League has helped that scene grow.
Challenger League is the only way into Pro League, so it was very important for us to have the format as close as possible to the Pro League. And today in Rio, we want to congrats all the new teams that made it into Pro League, and a special mention to Ants. They are back.
Yeah, Ents is returning. And of course, in the LATAM scene, Red Devils Esports is entering into the Pro League. So that's going to be really exciting for these LATAM fans here.
Definitely, Justin. Well-deserved to those teams. You know, they played 14 matches on the regular season. Then they went into the playoffs, into best of 3. And then they either qualified with winning the grand finals or the Challenger League or the Pro League regulation.
Yeah, and the Challenger League is no joke, man. It's how we get these teams into the Pro League. They have to go through the grinder in order to qualify for the Pro League. And once they're there, they're met with a lot of support from our side. Now, talking about those Pro League uniforms, those are so cool. The pilot program uniforms. Back in the six majors, we revealed the weapon charms and the skins, and now we're introducing uniforms.
Yeah, very happy about our partnership that we have with those organizations. You know, we wanted the season organization to be part of our ecosystem, and we knew that everyone would benefit from this, especially the players. With the best support around them, they can do, you know, what they love best, which is competing, right?
Right.
So they can focus on that.
Yeah, the players here in Rio are loving seeing that FaZe Clan uniform.
They absolutely love it.
Yeah, but I mean, the support is no joke. I mean, we just saw Rogue showing off their fancy apartments and their really sick apartments.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's really a special occasion when we can see a pro player tweet out, you know, today's my last day at my 9 to 5. I'm becoming full-time pro.
That's it. They are living the dream, you know? And it's not only the teams that are in the pilot program that are benefiting from the whole ecosystem. For instance, you know, C9, they picked up a team, and we saw also on Twitter their awesome gaming house. So, you know, R6 Esports is no joke. The teams, most of the pro league teams, they have salaries. We see always when we go to these events, we see the teams boot camping around the world. So happy to see where we are now and where we are going.
Supporting the organization, supporting the teams through all these different revenue streams. And of course, mentioned in that video, we announced that the 6th Invitational is now $1 million, and it's still counting.
That's right, Justin. It does not stop here. With the Pro League Gold Set and Chibis, you can still contribute to the prize pool of the 6th Invitational. Yeah,
and I'm so excited for us to have our first $1 million tournament. That's going to be really cool. Now, are there any other changes coming to the 6th Invitational format?
We do have a change for the format. So for this edition, for the grand finals only, we will have unlimited overtime at any given maps. So, you know, last year at the grand finals, we went to the very last map, to the very last round. So with this implementation, potentially even more competition.
Pio, that was one of my favorite moments in my entire career, seeing EG versus G2, or formerly Penta. It was one of the most thrilling, exciting matches that I've ever seen, and being a part of the 6th Invitational was so special. We were there at the first one, we were there at the second one, and we're going to be there at the third one in February 2019, celebrating this game in all its glory and celebrating the community and people. How special is this moment for us right now?
You know, Justin, last year we went bigger. And what I can tell you for the next edition is that we are going even bigger. The 6th Invitational is about competition. It's also about community. Finally, it's about the people. And the people are, the dev team is inviting the fans home to celebrate the game that they know and that they love. You know, without the fans, nothing of this would be possible. So we want to take the time today to thank the viewer watching from home, and also this incredible crowd that we have today in Rio. Obrigado.
Obrigado to all the fans here in Rio, and obrigado to all the fans viewing at home. Thank you, Pio. Give him a big round of applause. That is a quick look at your esports update for the upcoming season, Season 9. But we have so much more esports to come. We have the Season 9, start of the Season 9. We have DreamHack Winter, and we have the 6th Invitational 2019 just around the corner. So if you're an esports fan, there is a lot of to come. But of course, there's one other thing that is coming up, and that is Wind Bastion. With our 2 new operators, Kaed and Nomad, and our new map, Fortress, for bringing a brand new change to the game, and a brand new flavor. Without further ado, let's check out this short video that overviews all that content coming your way.
Operation Wind Bastion is coming to Rainbow Six Siege to knock you on your tricky new gadgets from the 2 new Moroccan operators will introduce new threats as you battle for supremacy on a new map set in the beautiful North African countryside. Let's meet Nomad. 2 speed, 2 armor, and 1 brand new way to augment your attack. The Air Jab Launcher. Attached to Nomad's primary weapons, this baby fires air jabs, sticky, proximity-triggered air blast grenades that shove operators back and throw them to the ground. The proximity trigger means you can deploy it as a trap to cover your flank, or go on the offensive and use it to knock defenders out of cover. Operators who get air jabbed are unable to shoot while they recover, so it's very effective for making a dug-in Mira take a seat for a few crucial moments, or knocking a Clash down, forcing her to place her shield on her back while she collects herself. The air jab charge doesn't do any damage by itself, but it will knock down you and your teammates if you're caught in its blast radius, so placement is key. In the right situation, you might leave a defender calling desperately for Doc, or you might knock your victim clear through a destructible wall, which is always hilarious. The air jab is an anchored-in defender's worst nightmare, unless they've got Jaeger's ADS close by to neutralize it. With her power to knock people around, Nomad excels at putting defenders where they don't want to be, on their backs, out of cover, and exposed to the attacking team, not to mention your AK-74 or ARX-200 assault rifles. And when it comes to guarding a planted bomb diffuser, Nomad's air jab can mean the difference between a bitter defeat and sweet, sweet victory. A devious student is only as good as her wily teacher, and luckily for Nomad, her teacher was Kaid. While Nomad deals in knockdowns, Kaid makes his mark with electricity, and his Artilla Electro Claws bring a whole new way to electrify reinforced surfaces, barbed wire, and deployable shields. An Electroclaw can be thrown from a distance and will grab on tightly, electrifying any reinforced surface in its area of effect, meaning that you can easily electrify reinforced hatches from below. With his 3 Electroclaws smartly deployed, Kaid can electrify all of this. Their small size and deployment versatility makes Electroclaws difficult to spot and pick off. Even Maverick will have a tough time locating them because their area of effect means they don't need to be placed directly on the reinforced surfaces they're electrifying. But that doesn't mean they're invincible. IQ can easily spot them, Thatcher's EMP grenades can destroy them, and Twitch's drone can shoot them. And keep in mind that they take a few seconds to activate. So while a quick throw will help you counter a Hibana breach, by the time you hear a thermite breaching, it'll be too late for Electroclaw intervention. As a 1-speed, 3-armor operator, Kaid is a strong anchor for any defending team, and he can do significant damage with his AUG A3 SMG. Or, if you're feeling bold, take his TCSG-12 semi-automatic shotgun, which fires a single powerful slug and can support an ACOG. Both Nomad and Kaid pack a powerful 44 Magnum sidearm that comes equipped with an ACOG equivalent scope, so you're ready for a firefight at any range. The action you've been seeing here takes place on Fortress, the free new map coming with Operation Wind Bastion. You may have noticed a few portraits of Kaid hanging up around the place. That's because the Moroccan structure is both a military training facility and Kaid's home. The Fortress map was inspired by Moroccan Casbah architecture, but don't let all the intricate mosaics and the colorful stained glass windows distract you. The map features 2 interior floors with 2 objective sites per mode on each. With plenty of exterior stairs, the ability to rappel to the rooftop from nearly all sides, and towers that provide entry into the 2nd floor that only attackers can access, Fortress offers plenty of ways for the attacking team to methodically close in on objectives from above. Defenders can lock down the 1st floor Hammam bomb site by funneling attackers into the showers, while attackers can counter by locking down defender rotations with long lines of sight between the bomb locations in the Hammam and sitting room. Each objective site offers its own distinct tactics, and it'll be up to you to discover them all. Operation Wind Bastion is set to deliver one hell of a knockout punch to Siege's 3rd year.
Nice shot.
And there you have it. That is your first official look at Operation Wind Bastion with our 2 new operators, Nomad, Kaid, and our new map, Fortress. And now please keep that round of applause going for our presentation director, Alexander Karpazis. How's it going, man?
Justin, my man, it's amazing being here.
It's so incredible. This crowd has been going crazy this entire weekend.
It's a bit surreal. Yeah. The stadium, the fans, the energy that's in here, it's overwhelming. And I know I can speak on behalf of the entire dev team back home. It's extremely humbling and proud.
Yeah, extremely humbling to be here and seeing all these fans going crazy for our game that we put so much effort into. And I want to talk a little bit about the operators, the upcoming operators that we just saw in that video, because there's a few details that weren't covered that we'd like to expand upon. First, let's start with Nomad.
Yeah.
Now, that is such a crazy gadget that she has, and that is the Outbreak animation that we're seeing there slightly, right? Where did that come from?
It goes way, way back to Operation White Noise, where we were developing her, and she had something that was kind of a bit like a grenade launcher that was explosive, but it didn't really feel satisfying. So we kind of put her on ice for a bit, waited a bit longer, and then Operation Outbreak came out, and it kind of clicked when we had an enemy that could push you through walls. So we married the two together, and now we have this operator that feels really, really awesome, and we spent a lot of time on the tech side, on the control side, to make it feel really good, feel really fair. Integrating that knockback animation from Outbreak is a really cool feature. I'm sure fans here are going to find many different ways to utilize that. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, just going back a little bit, you mentioned that she was designed back in November 2017. Yeah. So she's been worked on for a year. Yes, that's right. It's something we don't talk about a lot. We have a term that we lovingly call the fridge, where we kind of put operators that aren't quite ready, that aren't fitting with what we're trying to do, into the fridge, and then we continue to develop other prototypes. Maybe they go in there, or we come up with new ideas. But sometimes it works out. We bring them back and resurrect them and work on them further. And Nomad's the result of one of those. Yeah, that's such a cool thing, because I don't think the community really knows how much time and effort some of these operators can take a while. Yeah, yes. And they go through many different iterations, different processes, and it's pretty interesting. Now, going back to her ability, what's some of the strategies that you've seen her play out that are really great in some of the pro player tests and also with internal tests? Well, what we found was she has two strategies that work really well for her. One is to deny kind of those flanks. It's the first attacker with a trap ability, so planting those on stairs, planting them behind you so that you know if there's a defender coming for you, they'll be blown through a wall. And then the other use is to move people who are kind of stuck in a location. They're hunkered down, they feel safe, and you jump in there with the air jab and completely dislodge them. So it's making sure that the defenders are always rotating and roaming. Yeah, that's really important, because there's these two elements that are happening. There's the proximity trap setup, which you can deploy with anticipation of a roamer coming down your flank. Yep. Or you have the direct approach, where you see an anchor hiding behind a deployable shield, and you're like, I want you to move right now. That's right. You have those options where it's defensive or it's super aggressive. Yeah, or you can just blow them off the roof like we saw in the video, which I hope I see a lot. That feels great when that happens. Yeah, it's so good, so good. And Jaeger also becomes really important there as well as a counter, because his ADS is... and deny that, yeah, absolutely. Super important for him as a counter, so we may see a lot of interesting changes in the pick rates and those kinds of things. Speaking of pick rates, yes, let's move on to Kaed. Yeah. Now, one of the first things that I thought when I saw Kaed, why would you ever take Bandit over him now? There's a lot of uses still for Bandit, and we've actually seen compositions where you have a Bandit and you have a Kaed for that total kind of hard breaching denial team. But Kaed's background actually came from us looking at Bandit, and he had an overwhelming pick rate just because of his utility. So we looked at that as an opportunity to provide variation and to give some more depth to that utility. So all the way back to E3 this year, we talked to a bunch of Ubisoft star players. We came to them with this design concept, and we're like, hey, we want an alternative to Bandit. What do you guys think? Let's give you the tools to design this operator. And that actually influenced a lot of what went into Kaed in the end. Yeah, that was a really special moment where we were in the room with 40 of our most hardcore Ubisoft fans, a lot of Rainbow Six fans, but also from other games as well. And they were all given the task to create this new operator, and that's super cool to integrate and tell that story of how the community shares their opinions and it makes it work into the game. Yeah, because I always get tweeted like, hey, I have an idea for an operator.
And this situation was actually that situation where they were like, hey, I have this idea for an operator, and now it's in the game.
Let's use it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned why take Bandit versus Kaid. They both have their uses.
Both have their uses, a lot of synergies, but also certain bomb sites probably favor Bandit in other.
Absolutely.
In Kaid.
So if you're going to Bandit trick, stick with Bandit because it still works best with him. And if you want to deny a hatch, then go with Kaid. And both their loadouts are very, very different. You got a 1 on one side, 3 speed, 1 armor. On the other side, 3 speed, 1 armor.
Yeah, and then there's Kaid's shotgun there, the slug shotgun, that is so insane. I heard the crowd reaction when they showed that on the video.
I can't wait.
It's going to be really, really exciting to see that. His loadout alone makes him a strong pick, and now that he's an additional hard wall breach, anti-hard wall breacher is so key to the game. Yeah. And I'm really excited to see him play in the meta and play with our pro players once they get their hands on him.
Me too, man.
Yeah, it's super cool. Now moving on to Fortress.
Yes.
Our new map. Tell us a little bit about the design of Fortress and where that was inspired from.
Well, Sam, the level designer, and the map team in general did an amazing job. It's a beautiful map. It plays beautifully. And spent a lot of time iterating on it. I mean, it's one of our biggest maps. But it was even larger when we started. We had a basement, we had more walls around it, more rooms, and then we started playing it, play testing it, getting feedback. We kind of shrunk it down a little bit more, got rid of the basement to something that was really feeling good with long sights and corridors and then close quarter combat rooms.
Yeah, I think what the interesting thing, again, in the same way of Nomad, this map has gone through many different iterations and different designs, but now I think what the interesting thing is it feels competitive.
Yeah.
Why does it feel so competitive?
We put a lot of energy playtesting it, and this map in particular had 4 pro sessions, which is the most we've ever done, just trying to get them in as fast as possible to get that iteration, to get their feedback and actually act on it. So we playtested this map a crazy amount of time.
Yeah, so along with our internal playtests that happen almost every week, there was also the 4 pro player playtests. What was some of their feedback that they had for it?
Well, it resulted in a lot of what I just talked about, making sure that we pare away and simplify it to 2 levels. I mean, we have the rooftop that is actually really important to have stairway access. The first map to have stairway access from the ground floor all the way to the top for attackers.
From the outside, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super important.
Getting that information from them to hone in on what makes the map special but still competitive was our top priority.
Cool. Now, speaking about the narrative of this map, it's so cool how we tied in the operator Kaid's background into this map. It's his map.
It is, and it's great that we're able to feature the story and narrative of our operator in a map for the first time. You walk around the fortress and you feel his presence. You see his portrait. You see his dagger's missing because he's actually carrying it on him. And so that was just a great way of tying together these operators to a specific location for the first time.
Yeah, and plus there's a lot of Easter eggs in there as well.
Yes, there is.
Saw the Tachanka turret on the top.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure there's a lot more.
No spoilers, but you have to be pretty creative with your drone to find something.
There is a really tricky one out there.
There is.
Yeah, cool. So that is a wrap-up of our segment now with Operation Win Bastion coming your way very soon. Please give a big round of applause and a thank you to Alexander Karpaz's presentation director. And right now, we have a really special treat because a lot of our dev team from Montreal couldn't make their way here, but we have another video to show to expand a little bit more on that narrative, more on the operators on Nomad and Kaid, and a little bit more detail of Fortress. So check out this dev diary.
Here's Dev right here. Here's Dev right here. Yeah.
We really try to aim for operators that are both fun to play alone and with your team, that are real assets in the way you attack or defend an objective.
Nomad comes from this wealthy Moroccan family. She got to travel a lot as she grew up, and as she got older, she decided to travel on her own. So she's recruited for being really tough, being able to endure any kind of weather, pretty much. She wants to become the first woman to travel Antarctica alone on foot, and that requires a lot of resilience. When it comes to creating characters, it's always about iteration. It's about talking with other writers, other illustrators, other game designers, and just pitching ideas back and forth about what kind of scenarios they might find themselves in. And just the idea of what do we imagine the modern Moroccan woman may be. And I think it'd be cool to have her as a traveler, so I pitched that idea, went with that angle, and a lot of people liked it. The air jab launcher came about when she went on a solo expedition in Kenya, and she wanted to find a way to push back the predatory wildlife without hurting them.
It felt a bit underwhelming to just have a frag grenade. So we wanted to add some punch into it. So basically pushing people back was really like the obvious thing to add to the gadget to make it really useful and cool at the same time. This new mechanic of displacement with the pushback effect that we really liked, that was put during the Outbreak event with the big zombie, like slapping you. And you should see the face of people going through walls for the first time. It's really funny to see.
She's kind of a mix and match for fighting, but as well traveling. So we started to look more into sportswear, to do trekking into the mountain, what is the military wearing, what is compatible together. We are trying to not take something that exists exactly the same. When we have a good silhouette, we go with these assets.
You might notice that Nomad has missing fingertips on one of her hands, and there's a whole story behind that, and I think you'll find out from her what actually happened.
You know, this guy is the commander. Even if he's an old character, it's one of the older operators, you don't want to mess around with this character. So this is the presence we tried to put visually on him.
They really wanted somebody that was this imposing leader of a fortress who had a reign over it, and there were thousands of students that would come there to this very prestigious school that's gone on for generations and generations and fostered and cultivated a whole bunch of soldiers and past soldiers and for the future. I think that's really what's important to him, and he wants to do the best job that he can.
The dagger was an important thing for us because the commander passed to each other when they are in charge in the fortress. So when one is going, a new dagger is forged for the new commander. As long as he's the commander of the fortress, he will always wear it proudly on him. For the beard, we explored a ton of stuff, to the classic, to the hipster beard. But in the end, it goes with the story of the character. This guy is so organized, his beard should be trimmed pretty well as the character.
Well, we began by just finding something to protect hatches, reinforced hatches. At first we tried with a mute effect. It was working, but not as good as we expected. So we just wanted to try with electricity.
For his spider claw, or the Artilla electro claw, as it's officially known, I was just doing some research, and I remember that there are, in the Berber Mountains, there are these spiders that are like cartwheeling spiders, and I thought, oh, maybe it'd be cool if growing up in the mountains he had developed a love for those spiders, and then why not affix that love for those spiders onto his gadget.
We reworked the electricity look because it was kind of subtle, like before, specifically on walls. So now it's really clear, like you see the big electrical arcs coming from metallic parts, and you don't have to try to just tickle the wall to see if it reacts. It's really clear from afar now.
Commander in Moroccan Arabic is Qaid, and they're like, that's perfect, that totally goes with all the other operator names that we have. His real name, the civilian name, is Jalal El Fassi, and Jalal is actually a nod to one of our tech guys here because he had spent so much time working on the game, and he is Moroccan.
It's funny that a game named Siege hasn't had a castle or any sort of fortress until now, but with Commander Qaid's family Casbah, it finally fills that hole in our lineup. We really wanted to bring the Rainbow world and lore to life in a new way that hadn't been done before. And a lot of times our maps, while they have a story standpoint, it doesn't feel as connected, especially to the operators. But this way we could start to bring players in, and they may actually start to look at the map and learn more of an operator's story from it. In this case, we use the operator's story to inform all of our room designs and layouts. There's a museum for Commander Qaid's family, in which all the daggers of previous commanders are there.
For this fortress, in fact, at the beginning, I started to look to the classic Morocco because we always want the player to have this feeling of traveling, going somewhere never been before in the game. It's more a feeling when you go to a specific place, like the dust, the sand. What do you feel when you're there? So I think the overall colorful feeling, the sand, the dust, the heat from the sun, I think you can really feel it now in the map.
Many people on the team, including one of the art directors, is Moroccan. And they were able to, as I designed and worked, just lend real day-to-day, on-the-ground insight to like how these structures work and why people are living in them or doing these certain things. And that allowed me to see it in a new way that you don't get from just reading about it. We began to really make the map feel different. We actually started all the map conceptual prototypes and layouts from real-world Casbah architectural plans. We really tried to take all the inspiration we could from Morocco as a country, and it has very unique architecture that when applied to maps will change the gameplay in ways other maps haven't had. One way is exterior staircases. Even on their Casbahs and in the map Fortress, there are many exterior stairs that it gives attackers new and unparalleled opportunity to get onto the roof and project power downwards. And this is going to be an interesting situation defenders are going to have to cope with. As opposed to other traditional maps, the rooftop space is used as a living space. It's a very cool, natural place to relax. So the rooftop, as opposed to previous maps, it's usually deader space because no one's on the roof, now is much more open and presents more opportunities than maps previously because it's someplace that people live. I built over 30 maps, honestly, for Morocco to try to finally get this one right, because you never know, what if we change this aspect of the Casbah? What if we include one less tower? How does it change this? We're always working through that iterative until we finally lock down on one that everyone can agree represents the new map the best and plays the best.
With BASTION, instead of just checking the meta, just trying now to reinforce it and to add more options around it, but in a really different flavor. That's what we were aiming at.
Thank you so much to all of the amazing developers back in Montreal and around the world that are working on this game. It is so great to work with such a dedicated and passionate team on the Rainbow Six team in Montreal. Really just I appreciate all of you, and I think the fans here really appreciate all of you guys back in Montreal as well. So that is the first look at BASTION coming your way to the test server on Tuesday, November 20th. We'll have the patch notes up detailing all the different features and all the changes coming your way very shortly. And if in the near future, we will have more information on year 4. Now, do not go anywhere because we have more esports action coming up. We have G2 Esports versus FaZe Clan. But first, we have a quick break in between that action. Thank you guys so much. Obrigado.